Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about makeup trends. So I'm going to be doing my version of the Latte makeup, which is basically my everyday makeup, but I'm going to do my version and talk about makeup trends as a whole. I think it's a really interesting subject, especially as an academic, and I just feel like talking about it. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite soft spot for indie makeup and high-end makeup. And I tend to take a pretty analytical approach to my content, be it my reviews of new products or just my collection. And I have new content every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. Okay, so it is once again really warm in my apartment. So I've got my Jimbo fan, so you will see this periodically. So makeup trends. I currently don't have any makeup on, so I'm going to be doing my makeup. I'm going to be doing the Latte makeup today, which is basically just a warm brown smoky eye and warm makeup. But that's my go-to. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is naming trends and this like increase in trends. So as far as my makeup so far, I have my brows done. I have the Surratt pomade in my brows, and then I have some of my Lisa Eldridge lip gloss on. This is the shade Sorcery. It's a nice hydrating kind of lip oil lip gloss hybrid, so I really love that. And I'll probably put on a different lip at the end. But I don't have any other makeup on, just my skincare. Okay, so the Latte makeup trend is basically just a warm brown smoky eye. And this is my go-to makeup look, especially if I'm, like, I don't wear makeup every day. I don't wake up in time for that. But if I am waking up and doing my makeup and I'm not trying a new palette or doing something sparkly, if I want just like my bare minimum makeup, this is what I do. This is what I've worn to job interviews, that kind of thing as well. So I'm going to start with the eyes, which is where I normally start. And you could, if you don't have oily eyelids like I do, you could probably get away with not using an eye primer, but I am going to still use an eye primer, even though I'm using an eye pencil. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of my NARS primer first. Okay, so my version of the Latte makeup, it is a warm brown eye with a little bit of like copper sometimes, so I do have a coppery gold eyeshadow, but for the most part, it's just a really simple brown smoky eye. And when I do those, you could do it with mattes. There are mattes in this palette. This is the Le Marais palette from Viseart. You could easily use this for those, use these tones. But I'm gonna show you my version of that, which is an eyeliner and bronzer. This is the easiest, especially when traveling, which was the last time I had a job interview. I was traveling. I was flown across the country for it. So I have my eye primer down just to make sure that the oil is blocked. And then I'm gonna go in with one of my favorite eyeliners, which is the Melt Slick Waterline Eye Pencil. This is meant to be super creamy and go in the waterline. And you can use it on your face too. Laura, the owner of Melt or one of the owners of Melt has done lots of demos with that. It does work well on the face, but I really like this on the eye. And I think this is really creamy, like up there with the Victoria Beckham. But for me, this lasts longer and doesn't melt away like the Victoria Beckhams have. So I'm gonna be using this. I also really love something like Black Coffee from Pat McGrath, but it's a little less creamy, so it's a little, you have to blend it really quickly. It doesn't smudge quite as well as this. This is extremely creamy. So I'm just grabbing a brush. So for this, I'm grabbing a Rougher One brush. I like this because it is flat and fluffy at the same time, so I can blend, but it's not as fluffy as, like, let's say this. You can see the shape is very different. It's not, you know, traditional blending brush shape. It has that flatness to it, which I think works really well for this kind of look. So, and I'm just gonna share my thoughts as we go. Wow, my nose is looking shiny. Okay, so Latte makeup. This basically, I mean, this is another one of those Hailey Bieber trends, naming things. I have some thoughts on that I'll share as we go. So I was talking to people like my other Hispanic people, my friend Ruby Minhouse, who is on here, on YouTube and on Instagram. And a lot of us were like, this is basically just our everyday makeup. And it feels weird that it's like, it feels like Hailey Bieber and like white people giving a name to something that we already do and making it like a trend and making it theirs. It's not cultural appropriation like the cowboy caviar or like some of those where they, or when they took aqua fresca. Like, it's not that, but it's still like in that same, like, instead of just calling it what it is, you're like giving it a name and trying to take ownership of it, which is the thing that I find kind of weird versus just calling it what it is. You know, it's the taking ownership of it that I find odd. So I'm just going to take this pencil and I'm going to kind of messily rub it right here. I think the new Lisa Aldridge pencils would be really good for this, but mine have not gotten here yet. I did order them and they shipped. I just got the notification that they shipped like right before I started filming. So hopefully soon I will have those and I can compare that formula to this and Victoria Beckham and stuff. But you can see it's very creamy and it does set down, but not 100%. And then I'm just using this brush and you can see it blends out really easily. I really love these pencils. I think these are one of Melt's best products. Best, really. And they last really well on me. I've worn these, so I did that interview in New York earlier this year. It was in the spring. I didn't need a jacket. I was actually kind of overly warm in my like pants and button down that I wore for the interview and my boots, because my boots are the shoes that went with that outfit. So it was really warm weather. And I wore shorts when I got home and, or back to the hotel. But like I was wearing this makeup for, I think that interview was like 11 hours long, including dinner and stuff. And my makeup still looked good when I got home and then went out to the bars afterwards. So like this lasts. And this is literally what I did. So you can see it blends out super easy. If I'm not talking, it's even faster. It's kind of neutral, dark brown, really pretty. Doesn't take a lot. And then I can put it in my waterline and stuff as well. Then just using the bronzer that I'm holding right here, I flip the brush over, pick up some of the bronzer, and I'm gonna tap that over it to tone it down a little bit and to set it and make sure that it is set and lasts all day. If you don't have oily eyelids, you might not need to do this, but I do find that setting with powder is kind of a necessary step, and I think really helps. And then I just kind of windshield wiper, I turn the brush and windshield wiper it out. Okay, so this is like my daily, like you can see I've used a decent chunk of this pencil. I think it used to be, that long. I've used a lot of it. Okay, so then if you want it to be really smoky, you can go underneath. I'm going to go into my waterline a little bit with this. So I think makeup trends are always something interesting. I think trends are interesting in general. I'm also an anthropologist. I'm a biological anthropologist, so my personal research has been in fossils and anatomy and biomechanics, but that also means that I have an undergraduate degree and graduate training in anthropology broadly, because you have to for a PhD. So I do think trends are really interesting. So creamy, really love this. If you want, you can put just a little bit right here. I'll wait to do my lower lash line until I'm done with my makeup. But I think it's really interesting to see how fast makeup trends and trends in general are changing in the last 5 years or so. I think the COVID lockdowns, people being at home, people having a little more free time working from home, and then the TikTok short form content, it's really pushing trends to like jump and change really quickly. And I think that's really interesting. It's also put that like name to trends. Like I don't remember trends having a name. It was just like people are doing this because it's trendy before. Less giving it a title. I'm gonna do this on the other eye real quick. Okay, so that's done for now. That's the easiest part. That's really fast, especially if you're, not talking like I am. And then the other thing that I've noticed a lot in the Latte trends is then parting a little bit of like a gold or a copper. And I picked out this palette because this is very fall-y. Very excited to use this a lot this fall. I got this on sale this summer. They were doing like a 40% off sale. Really like this the couple times that I've used it. And I think I'm gonna I might use both, but I'm gonna start with this shade. I think it's just a little deeper, a little more what I want. And you could leave it like this. This is how I leave it day to day, is just this. I've also done something very similar with the Haus Labs liquid shadow in Cocoa. It's a very similar color to this, needs very little, and you don't need to set that one. But most people have, a creamy eyeliner or a brush, something like that. So this is a little more forgiving because it doesn't dry quite as fast as the Haus Labs paints. But once those dry, they're good. So I'm gonna put this right here in the middle of the lid, just kind of warm this back up. It's looking a little cool. But this is a Viseart shadow. Some Viseart shadows are pretty shiny. This is a little bit softer. And I've seen people do more or less shimmer. I'm gonna put a decent amount of shimmer here. You could use any bronzy tone. I could have grabbed that Natasha Denona bronze, really any kind of bronzy gold. Really like that. And if you're, especially during the day, if you don't want to wear shimmer, don't need to, you can just leave it as is. And I think this palette would also be a good one to do this all with just mattes. Really. So I did that with my finger, and I'm just using the brush to make sure it's blended in. Okay, really like that. And I've noticed that like now there's the strawberry girl trend, which definitely corresponds with the strawberry version of like her lip products. So she's very much naming these and using that name and that title to sell, to market. And I don't think people are like, ooh, I'm doing this trend. But I don't think people are necessarily paying attention to that. It's also a marketing thing. Like her newest one, which is, I could rant about the whole cookie butter, what was it? It was cinnamon cookie butter hair, and all these people that I follow were like, it's just brown hair. Like, you're giving a name to brown hair. She made her hair a little darker. She got it professionally colored brown. It's brown hair. Most of us just have that. It's probably the most common hair color in the world. Like, you didn't need to name this and make it a thing and a trend. Like, I think that's the one thing that I don't like about trends. One, I think people feel too pressured to do them. I've had people say, are you gonna do this? And get this trend, and I've been like, no, I don't, that's not a trend for me. And they're like, but it's trending, you should do it. And I'm like, I've never been one. I think I'm too autistic for that. I've never been one to just do things because they're trending. But I think it's also like, a lot of people feel pressure to do things because they're trending, and then that can make them spend money. And there's a whole like marketing, subliminal, subtle marketing ploy with some of these trends that I think people should be more aware of or like pay attention to. Okay, I'm gonna go in with concealer next. This is the Haus Labs concealer in 23 light medium golden olive. Really like this. I've used it a handful of times. I've used it on camera already. Very thick concealer, but it blends out really well. And I don't mind the thickness. I think the consistency actually helps it kind of blur the skin a bit. And then I'm using my Sonia G Jumbo Worker as my concealer brush. And then I'm just gonna use the concealer to brighten my under eye, but also add a lift and fix the edge up here. And that's why I haven't done the lower lash yet. I do think the Latte makeup trend is really cute, and I think the Tomato Girl one is cute. I like the color. I don't like that it's gendered, Tomato Girl. I think too much of makeup is still seen as gendered, and that's a rant for another video, and something I've ranted about many, many times, especially when people can't even get the gender of people's correctly. I get misgendered all the time. I got misgendered in some comments yesterday. I don't know. Even if they're being supportive, they sometimes misgender, which if it's a mistake, it's fine. I know Dion Loves Makeup recently mentioned me in something and used the wrong pronouns and apologized. And I was like, you know what, it's a mistake, it's fine. I did that collab last year with Annette's Makeup Corner, and she used the wrong pronouns. Totally, like, I understood. She apologized. She was like, I didn't mean to. Can't really refilm the whole video just because of that one little bit. Totally understand. She, you know, not a big deal. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit right here just because I am a little red today. I'm a little tired. I'm a little red. I had to get up at 5 a.m. to take my husband to the airport. And now I'm alone for the week, which is weird. Okay, some days, I think the rest of this makeup trend is a lot of just like clean, quote unquote, clean, like healthy looking bronze skin. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I could just leave it with concealer. I often just do. I will use a little bit more in Spot Conceal, but I'm gonna use the Surratt Dew Drop foundation. They sent this to me in PR, and I do have a code with them. It's Bones15, and it saves you 15%. A few people have used it, so thank you very much, because it is an affiliate code. It's my first affiliate code, and Fenty Cosmetica also gave me one around the same time, so I don't remember which one's my first, but really thankful for the few people that have used it. It means a lot, but really, really enjoying this. This is a $70 foundation, and I hate how much I love it because it is so beautiful. Like, the Haus Labs foundation has been my holy grail, like top tier, perfect foundation. This, I think I like more because the Haus Labs has a bit more coverage than this. So on the day-to-day, this is like serum-like and really just looks like skin. When I wear this to work, I've worn this to work a few times, but the other day I wore this combo to work, and my boss looked at me and she was like, whatever you have on your face, your complexion looks flawless today. Like, what did you use? And it was this. And I've gotten compliments on my skin every time I've used this. So really happy. I have shade 9. I have shade 8 and 9, but 9 is my current match. I think 8 will be better in the winter, when I haven't seen the sun at all. Very liquidy. And then I'm gonna use my Sonia G Jumbo Base, and I'm gonna put this all over the rest of my face where I don't have the concealer. And it just melts right in. This is, I think, supposed to be a golden beige color, which is pretty good for my summer skin. I'm not that tan. I could be tan, but I've been working so much this summer that the sun I see is with SPF, the walk to and from work. So it's not like I've been to the beach or anything. If I'd been to the beach, I'd be a shade darker. But really love this. It just looks like skin. In person, you can't really tell that you're wearing anything, which is what I want. And I kind of think goes with the vibe of the Latte makeup. It's that, you know, perfected bronzed skin and then a bronzy brown smoke. Okay, so that is the foundation and concealer. And I put way too much on here. I definitely didn't need as much as I used. You don't need a lot. It's just a really beautiful foundation. I think it may be my new favorite foundation. I've had it for a few weeks, maybe a month, so, you know, time will tell, but I hate when I love nice things. I hate when I love expensive things because some expensive things are not worth the money. like some things are just the name, the price, whatever. You know, a drugstore or a cheap, affordable option is just as good, if not better. Totally, that is a very common thing that happens. But sometimes the expensive thing is worth the money. And this seems to be one of them. I am still working on my thoughts on everything else that I've tried from them. And a full face review will be coming soonish. Okay, so I'm gonna set my face real quick using my Haus Labs setting powder. So I have pretty normal skin, not the most dry. I don't really ever deal with dryness, and I get a little oily in my T-zone. So I do like to set my concealer and then just do a light dusting everywhere else to kind of give a nice finish to the skin. I do think the Surratt Foundation has a nice, healthy glow, natural skin-like finish anyway, but did want to set a little bit. And then I'm going to actually use this bronzer. So like I said, a bronzy, this is definitely a bronzy look. And I think a lot of people like Rupi and myself were talking about this because a like soft bronzy look is our go-to just because of our complexion and our skin tone. Rupi is obviously a little darker than me, but we do have some similar foundation shades. But because of that, it's just our go-to. I think, for a lot of lighter skinned people, including, I don't exactly know what foundation Hailey Bieber wears, but it's definitely, unless she fake tans, lighter. They lean a little bit more pink, and so in their complexion and in the products they use. Also that warm reddish color that's now the strawberry, strawberry girl vibes, which strawberry girl, tomato girl actually is a really pretty look. But again, naming it strawberry, then coming out with the strawberry like lip product, it's very much a marketing thing versus it's not. I think what's interesting about trends now is not that it's like they're not as natural. I mean, the media has always been involved in trends and influenced how they become, what they become, how they proliferate, all of that. The media, fashion magazines, all of that have always been involved. But now you have influencers and you have social media and you have people naming products and naming trends or creating trends. It's not something that's organically happening. They're specifically like, this famous person did this, she called it this, or they called it this. Now it's a trend that's spreading. And it's happening so fast. Like some of these micro trends happen like within a week, and it's really interesting to watch. I will obviously not participate in all of them, but I do think it can be really fun. And so I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it, especially if you understand that they're changing quickly and that there might be a marketing ploy behind some of it. Okay, so I went ahead and used the Haus Labs bronzer. It is my favorite bronzer, although I am really liking the Surratt. I just didn't feel like using it today because I was using the Haus Labs on my eyes already. And then for blush and highlight, I have the new RMS Prosecco Fizz Glow thing. So this is their Hydro Dew Luminizer. So it's supposed to be a universal golden shade, which gold is not necessarily universal, but it's really sheer. So I can use this in some spots. And then for my cheeks, I want to use my favorite for this type of look, which is the cream blush light from Melt in Sundown. And it is this beautiful golden bronzy color, perfect for this trend, I think. Perfect for summer in general, but I think it fits really well with this trend. So I'm picking it up on a Refer 5, a different one than the one I used my bronzer with, and putting it right here. And you can see it gives a nice warm glow to the skin, but it's still kind of bronzy. I think it's just a really, really beautiful highlighter. This is my favorite cream blush formula, and I think some of these, like this one, where they're a little shinier, are a really nice blush and highlighter in one. And they say you can use this on the eyes, or at least some of them, but they're too creamy for me. They would just crease. But if you wanted a monochromatic look, you could do everything with like this and this. Okay, so that is the blush. I think it fits very well with the trend. I'll put a little bit on my nose. And then I'll take a little bit of this highlighter, and a chunk just fell off, really. I think my nail got it. Picking it up on a highlight brush, and I'm gonna put that in some places where I didn't want to put the blush. So like a little bit on the bridge of my nose. See, it just kind of helps define it from the bronzer that's there. And up here, it's very subtle. I put it on my husband's hand, and he's a redhead, he is a ginger. It was a little too gold for him, but he could even, like a sheer layer of this would probably work on him. So I do think it might be close to universal, but I'm still, you know, forming an opinion on this. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of bronzer, finish up the eyes by rubbing a little bit down here, and then I'm gonna put some mascara and a lip on, and I am done. So I'm just taking a smudgy brush. This is a Refer 2. Really like this for going under the eyes. Some people use this for shimmers. I don't, but I do think it works really well. The tip of it for down here. You could also use a brush I just got from them, which is the 33. You can see it's like a giant version of the 1, but it does have a nice point to it. So I could take the tip of that and run it right here. It is just bigger. It does kind of blend as it goes though, which is nice. So I'm just gonna throw on some mascara and I will be right back. Okay, so this is the final look. Very much my everyday throughout the summer and fall especially. I tend to go a little more cooler in the winter, but even still, this is kind of a year-round look for me, and I know for other people. I went ahead and added my Surratt mascara. This is the actual mascara, not the lash tint. I'm obsessed with the lash tint, but I'm also trying to get my head and my thoughts around the mascara. Really nice. It is a fiber mascara, and I think it looks really nice on the lashes. They look really nice. I think I prefer the lash tint, but I think it's kind of what you want in the situation. And then I threw a little bit of Endless Cacao and Meet Me in Berlin from Lisa Eldridge on my lips. Meet Me in Berlin is my go-to everyday perfect lipstick. It is brown, but a little rosy, so a little warm, not as cool as like Merit 1990, which I also have here just in case I felt like using that. I also have Haus Labs Maple Matte sitting here in case I felt like using that. I was not up for decisions today. Okay, so this is the end look. You know, if you're not talking, this would take me 5-10 minutes to do everything. Really like the way it looks. This is, I mean, there's a reason it is my go-to makeup. It's a little smoky, but not too smoky. It's easy, daily friendly kind of look. Looks really nice. Works with my complexion, my skin tone. I love this. And there's a reason I do it most days. And I like that the trend got more people to try, you know, try doing this look if they don't normally. I think it's a really fun look. I do think a lot of people bought products for the makeup look. And that's where my problem with these trends is the way they're moving so fast and the way they happen, especially on things like TikTok. I'm not saying I don't like TikTok. I use TikTok all the time. but I think it's making things speed through faster, and then trends inherently make people buy things to try the trend, because I mean, some people might not have something to try it. Like, you might not have an eyeliner like this. I mean, you probably have a bronzer, but you might not have an eyeliner like this. You might need to buy one. You might not have a coppery, I mean, most people have kind of a coppery shimmer, but you might not have this. But some people see people doing the Latte makeup with, you know, brand new products or with specific products and be like, well, I have to buy those to do it. And I think that's where my problem with trends, with these fast moving trends is in the way that they're getting people to buy money or being used as a marketing ploy versus people just having fun and trying new things. The fun and trying new things and like, it is something that I think everybody should do, and I think is a fun, you know, aspect of it. I do think it's interesting that a lot of these trends are things that have happened in makeup before. Lisa Elders has talked about this before on her channel. And you see a lot, trends in general are kind of cyclical, just like history seems to be, and a lot of other things seem to be kind of cyclical. And it seems like we're just speeding up that cycle quite a bit. But I'm curious to know what you think, one, about the makeup look. This is my basic everyday makeup. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, but I also love to hear your thoughts on these trends and what you think of them. Have you followed them? What your thoughts are? I'd love to hear in the comments below. So let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel a lot. Even more so than using affiliate links or anything, but that does help a lot too. Helps me buy the things that I use. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.